Yes, the Maclachlan family history. Yes, I was actually, well, not the Queen of Ireland, I was the Princess of Ireland in a former life. The Maclachlans, in 1400 BC, it was a slightly different name. We changed our name to the Maclachlan when we moved over to Scotland. Um, the, the Maclachlans ruled over Ireland, basically. And, yes, I was that princess in a former life. My dad was the King of Ireland. And what happened? The O'Learys, now, I'm nothing against the O'Learys now. It was 1400 BC, although I think they were a bit nasty in the day in 1400 BC. They marched over to the King of England and said, "We're taking over the Queen of Ireland's castle. Will you help us?" And the king said, "What on earth do you want the Queen of Ireland's house for? Are you homeless?" "Listen, will you help us? And when I die, you can take over Ireland and the castle." And the king said, "Oh, well, that sounds more like an exciting proposition. Okay." So, my dad was sat in the castle. He was the king of the castle in a former incarnation, the King of Ireland. He didn't have many troops. We were a bit of a communist country, people looked after us. They respected us. The farmers brought us cabbages and chickens of their own free will, and we didn't have much of an army. So he saw this approaching, the O'Learys and the English, and he hopped on his little horse and cart with my mother. Said, "Come on, Amanda, we're going over to our other bigger castle in Scotland." Of course, I was an obstinate little brat, even in 1400 BC. I said, "No." I could see the king approaching with his troops. I said, "I want to go and talk to the king and see what this is all about and sort it out." He said, "Well, we're going." I was about 16 at the time. So my mum and dad sped off, and the O'Learys captured me and had me burnt at the stake. Then the king, the Queen keeps sending us this joke, the Maclachlans, there was a big bloody battle in 1400 BC and we won. And I keep saying, "No, we didn't, we just handed over the keys." No, it was the O'Learys the king had a big bloody battle with. He slaughtered the O'Learys because, of course, the O'Leary had said, "You can have the castle and Ireland when I die." So he slaughtered the O'Learys and took over the castle and took over Ireland. So that's when the English took over Ireland. Now, no, Your Majesty. I keep hearing rumblings from the palace that the monarchy want to hand Ireland back to the Maclachlans. I am not prepared to die over a flipping castle. I got burnt at the stake in my last life just because I had a castle, Your Majesty. No, I don't want it back. I wouldn't be the queen of the country for all the gold in China. Yes, I went out with this lad called Leslie Ryan, and he kept an ex-employer of mine who I've worked for, Brian Ashton. He told me that he'd left me £60,000 in his will, and I let this fact slip to Leslie Ryan. And he kept prattling on something when he was drunk. People will kill for £50,000, people will kill for £50,000. Then he asked me to marry him. And I thought, oh yeah, right. You're going to marry me, and then as soon as Brian Ashton dies and leaves me £60,000, you're going to kill me, aren't you, for the money? So I said no. And I immediately run over to Brian's house and said, "This 60,000 quid you're leaving me, I don't want it. Leave it to a children's charity." He said, "That's a good idea. I'll leave the rest of my money to I think he left it to Darien House Children's Hospice, because I know Brian for ages he didn't know who to leave his money to, who wouldn't kill him for it, And he decided to leave it to a children's charity, Darien House. So yes. Now, where am I going with this? Yes. Bonnie Prince Charlie. Yes, there was another occasion where the Lachlan's had a run-in with the English royalty. Lachlan Maclachlan was aide-de-camp to Bonnie Prince Charlie. Now, the Queen keeps making noises that Maclachlans are cowards. We are not Maclachlan cowards. We are just very intelligent, and we know, you know, we're just very intelligent, the Maclachlans. Now, what happened? Bonnie Prince Charlie turned up to fight the English, and Lachlan saw the sheer enormity of size of the British army coming over the hill. So he said to Bonnie Prince Charlie, I think I better go back to Scotland and get reinforcements. Well, of course, he calculated very carefully that Bonnie Prince Charlie hadn't enough troops to win. Now, the Maclachlan history books say he returned late after the battle was over and Bonnie Prince Charlie was dead, so he went back to Scotland. Now, it wasn't so much that Lachlan was bad at timekeeping. He just calculated how many men he needed to defeat the English. And it took him a long time to drum up that number of support. Of course, when he got back, I suppose you say, why didn't he chase after the English? Well, you know, all the troops that Bonnie Prince Charlie had taken had been slaughtered. So he still didn't have enough men. Now, it's not he isn't conscientious. It's not that he isn't conscientious. He was very conscientious. And it's not that he's a coward. He was just retreating statistically when he went back to Scotland. While he realised that now Bonnie Prince Charlie's troops had been killed, there still wasn't enough men. And so he retreated to Scotland to try and drum up enough support. And when he died at 286 or something like that, you know, he was heard to say on his deathbed, I need more men to defeat the English. Who'll come and help me defeat the English? Honest, that's the truth. Anyway, yes. Obviously, all that was a long time in the past. And neither me or the Queen had anything to do with either of those arguments, did we, madam? I know what you're going to say. I'm going to get loads of comments all under my video saying, why would the Queen be watching this video? Well, there's a very good reason why the Queen and the Palace might be reacting this video. It's because I sent them some very strange letters a couple of years ago, and they rung the psychiatrist up asking him if he thought I was a threat to national security. So I think the Palace are monitoring my site. So if the Queen's not watching, one of her aides might be. Yeah, I have a very important question for you, madam. I want to know the answer to. Yes, when I was young, people found out about my family history that we used to rule over Ireland. And a lot of the girls at school used to ask me if we had gold toilet seats in our house. Now, it's not that I can't afford gold toilet seats on benefits. It's not that my dad couldn't afford gold toilet seats working in a factory. I mean, if I wanted gold toilet seats, I would stop drinking, stop smoking, and pulling my belt until I could goddamn afford a gold toilet seat. Now, I know the Queen, she's going to say we Maclachlans are soft again when I say this. But, yes, personally, I find that gold toilet seats are a bit cold to sit on in winter. I prefer a nice bit of oak or a nice bit of cedar wood to sit on. I prefer a wood toilet seat. I have actually got a wood toilet seat, not a golden one. And it's a very serious question, you know, to ask the Queen. What do you prefer? A gold toilet seat or a wooden one? Or are you going to go totally strange on me and say plastic? Anyway, yes, that's it for today. Thank you.